All right, here we go. So, like I said, there was going to be a quiz today. Due to some issues in my quiz and the first hour, the quiz has been moved to Tuesday. And the reason that is, like I said, issues in the first class. I don't want you guys to take a quiz that they aren't, so I'm gonna try to make every quiz and test be on the same day. That way you guys can't really communicate as easily or have much time to. So, I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna teach you guys what I thought I had taught you, but forgot, which makes input a lot easier. And then we are going to do some stuff with Pygame and starting our video game, starting aspects of our video game.
Should we open up a new file?
Yeah, what I want you guys to do is open up a new file, and we're going to go over. Oh, and I have things I need to tell you guys. So both classes. Just an FYI, for the end of chapter review questions, because the answers are in the back of the book, I want you guys to do the questions and then check them and then edit your answers before you upload them. Because a couple people, I'm sure in this class and that class may or may not have gotten some answers wrong. And it's a completion grade, so I didn't go through and mark the problems wrong. But it would help you if you went through and you got your answers and you're like, all right, let me check. Oh, I got that one wrong. Let me make sure I know it, blah, blah, blah. And it just helps you in the long run. Yeah, the answer's in the back of the book. Anna and Lorian. And this is just for everyone. Oh, Andre?
Are they in the back of the book on the online?
There's an actual, yes. In the table of contents, you just scroll down to the answers. There's a little hyperlink. So this is for everyone, but it was an issue in the homework for Anna and Lorian. Try not to put periods in your file names. The vast majority of the time, it doesn't mess with anything, but I've had teachers come in and they go, I'm double clicking and it won't open this file because they have document name .doc.docx or whatever, and it screws it up because a period separates the file name from the extension, and the extension is what tells Windows how to open it. So just in general, can you guys do it? Yes. 99% of the time it won't mess with stuff, but it does have the potential for you to not be able to open up a file in the right application. Yeah, you can use underscores. Yeah, that's what I prefer for all that sort of stuff. Make sure to use the console and not the shell. So a couple people, or at least one person in the other class, they saved this and uploaded this. So they were like x is 1, print x. And I don't want this sort of stuff saved in here because if there's an error, I can't edit it. I can't show you what's wrong. So what you'll need to do is file, go to new file, which gives you this, and write your code here. So x is 1, print x. Yeah, just file, new file, or you hit Control N is the shortcut. Yeah, and then I think one of you guys might have made a Portal reference with cake in the file name.
Oh, that was mine.
Yeah, was that a Portal reference? Portal's a video game. No, okay. It's okay if it wasn't. That's fine. I think so. I think you're good. Okay, so we can ignore this. So this is updated input information. So I'm going to save that. Updated input. You are fall 3rd hour. So normally when we do an input, and this is the thing that threw off the first class, and while I'm not against giving you guys, hey, we haven't necessarily learned everything in here, but you guys should be able to figure it out. Here's a quiz or here's a problem. I'm not going to do that the first week, especially with like things like inputs and things like that. So normally we have been doing print, what is your name? and then we do name is input. Or we do print, enter your hourly wage. Then we do wage is input. And we went over, we could do this too. You guys remembered putting float in front of an input? Okay. There's a way to simplify this, but if we do this, we're gonna get Zach, and let's say I make 12 or 15.25 an hour. What we can do is we can merge this print into this input function. Do you guys have any guesses on how to do that? Luke?
Well, I think if I understand what you're asking, is saying how to print from the input. You just put whatever you would put in the input and not space it here. I mean in the print.
So you're saying put this here and a space?
Yeah.
Let's see if he's right.
Space in the
Oh, in the string.
yeah.
Yeah, that was my bad. I'm gonna comment that out. Whoa.
That's what I did for the.
For the homework, yeah, I noticed that.
By the way, did that work? Was that how you?
It's-
I didn't know how to upload it or what you meant. But for the second assignment, like more, I would say more displaying and running or something like that. I didn't know how did you want us to upload the different like sections like that?
You upload one file per assignment.
That's what I did.
Okay, that's all you need to do. And then in that file, you need question 1
Oh,
or something like this. Question 2. Here's the code. Make sense?
oh, so do you look at our code, not what's being run?
I look at your, I download your code and then I run it. So I look at your source, I look at this code and I run it. And if you run it and it works perfectly, okay, you're good. But if it doesn't work perfectly, I then go in and I go, oh, well, you know, if you do something like this and you print wage times 12 and you want this to be your answer, I'd go, well, the issue with this is this needs to be a float, and that is minus 1 point.
Well, we would always be able to tell if our code works, though, right? So
You would think.
keep going until we like.
You guys can, like, yeah, you guys can do and run the code as many times as you want until the day it's due. You guys don't have to write it all at once in one thing. I think I just lost.
I feel like one thing, save it, and then run it.
I just lost internet.
Yeah, mine's really, yeah.
Well, I don't know why my Ethernet's not working. It should be plugged in, but that's something for the IT guy to fix. He's been busy. Yeah?
What should be known as
Or like the turning in file? Like the homework file?
right here.
The file we're using? I don't care. That's only something you're gonna see. Sorry about that, William. We lost internet for half a second. Also, do you prefer seeing me talk or do you want to see the class?
I don't care. I don't really care this.
He goes
That seems
down.
Okay. Well,
that seems to be a general.
we'll keep it on me. Probably because you're watching YouTube. So this is how I do your homework. Is, you know, minus 1 point. Well, actually, it's more like, especially on tests.
I'm listening again.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It's like, I want to see what you're coding, not your face. So I'll do this, copy. So that's just so you guys can see it. This is how I'll do it. So I'll comment out your code. I'll do the correction in that line, and then I'll take points off however it should be. So you can see what you did, and you can see what I did.
Oh,
Yes.
So, when you go to the website, this is like everything that
In a website?
in that website, it's
But do you want to see what a website looks like?
well, no, I think that- yeah, code. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's called HTML, Hypertext Markup Language.
HTML is even more easy because you just type and then words appear.
Well, depending on what program, like there's another student in the other class who really wants us to use PyCharm, which helps. Huh?
go ahead.
Yeah, so he knows about it. And the reason I'm saying no is because what it does, if you type print, it automatically puts that there and you start typing in here. So it helps you, and I think yes, in the advanced class that I'd be totally fine with it, more fine with it than in the intro. But in the intro class, I want you guys to learn that, hey, I need to know how many parentheses are in this, because if I'm printing something like print, I'm just gonna add some stuff in here. So format wage dot to f this plus string version of wage times 19. Then I need to do some math, so I need 2 of those because wage squared plus 17 minus, because you work 25 hours but you got time and a half. So I want you guys to be able to go, I want you guys to know how many parentheses you need before just relying on PyCharm. And let's see what that comes out to. No, yeah. Only can a string not float to string. Oh. Float. Oh. No, wait, what? Format just gives it 2 decimal places. But that's not something we're going to learn yet. We're going to learn that next chapter. So, all in all to say, wage is float input. What is your hourly wage? Print wage. This is how you guys can do inputs now. And this is probably how I would prefer you guys to do it because it's easier, it's condensed, and your code will run infinitesimally faster. Do you guys have questions on that? Colin and Brendan, or Brandon.
So fast.
What?
You type so fast in English.
Oh, because I took coding classes in college. I wasn't this fast until I took a coding class.
What's the dollar sign for? Is that-
It's so it looks pretty.
Oh, okay. What is the one that's in-
Look at that.
Oh, so it's not necessary to use it.
No, it's not necessary at all. You guys have questions on that? Now, yes, Anna? Yep, I want it on the .py file. If you haven't, that's fine. Some people have just copy and pasted code into the text box, which is okay. This is how I prefer it. That's fine. I'll deal with that. You're not going to get marked down now, but going forward, that'll be an issue.
It's supposed to happen 13 months, but that's like how many like whatever the number is.
Yeah, so if you just type 15, yeah. Yeah, because I have it as a float. Now, if I were to do an integer up here, it just gives me an integer. And like I said, we are going to go over format, and format will be whenever you display money, you want to round it. Basically what it does is it takes a 8 decimal and makes it to 2. And so again, it's just a format looking thing. It doesn't mess with your math or anything like that. It's a output only type thing. Okay, questions on input. All right, this is another thing that I went over with the other class. You can print. Normally, the way we've been printing multiple things. So you make. Then we've been doing this plus str of wage times 12 plus in 12 hours. Does that look familiar to people? So to 15, I make, oop, hang on, I gotta go back. I gotta make a space here and a space here. Let me double check that. I wrote 15, okay. And I feel like I'm going real fast. So let's do this. Do you guys feel like I'm going too fast? A little bit? Okay. I agree with you. So this is how we would say how much money you make in 12 hours. We could then make it pretty and go boom and put that there. So now when it runs, yeah, can you just put that on the floor? Don't throw it on the floor. All right, so that makes it look nice and all that stuff. But adding this plus sign and the string and the other plus sign can be kind of annoying, right? What if I don't want to always stringify everything? Well, what you can do, and I'm going to copy this and paste it, and I'm going to get rid of the string. No. We just add commas.
Whoa. That works?
Now I want to point out a couple things. The technical term for this is passing multiple arguments to a function. What is print? Why does it change to purple? Ash, it's a function. Functions are what?
Written by the computer?
Not necessarily by the computer, but it's pre-written chunks of code that we use. We're going to write our own functions if we get to it in this class. So what we normally do is the difference between this and this is if I copy this, that's still just one giant string. And I can do to that whatever I want in regards to a string. So I'm going to make x equal to that just for simplicity's sake. But I can go x times 14 and it prints that 14 times. I can do x bracket 1 and print. I can print the O. I can do x bracket minus 1 and I can print the last character. It's a string that I can do things to. I can do x dot upper. And it capitalizes everything. We're going to get to this later in the semester.
I never knew that if you put minus 1 in an array, it was
the last character.
Now it makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm. So that is a string. I can do to it whatever I can do to a string. Okay? The same cannot be said for this. What it does is it breaks it into chunks, and these become 3 separate things. Commas are the universal separator in code. We use them all the time, and all they do is they separate things. Specifically, when it comes to things in a list, which again we're going to get to later, or when we pass multiple arguments to a function. It's the separator. If I want to pass 3 things to Brandon, I have to do 3 separate passes, each one separated by like me grabbing, like I'm not throwing 3 things at him at once. Right? 1, 2, 3. A comma, that's what a comma does. It's the separator. So what we're doing is we are either printing one long string, or we're giving the print function 3 things to do, 3 things to print. Does that make sense to everyone? So you can use either one of these, and at times adding things together as a string is better. Oh, hang on, I need to change that back to a float. Which one of these? All right, let me choose a different number. Which one of these looks better, look more professional?
The first one.
The first one. Why do you guys say that?
Because there's no space between the dollars and the
There's no space here. So if you have a comma, you have a space, period, when you're printing. So if you don't want a space in between $1.144, you need to code it like this, with a string and a plus. Otherwise, I mean, I can get rid of that. So now it looks at least a little better. I like 15 better. Right? This part is the same, but I still have this space here. I don't want that space. So what I need to do is I need to code it like one giant string like up here. Brandon.
So would it be wrong if we coded it the second way?
Depending. There are times when I say your output has to look exactly like this. It has to look just like my example, or else you lose points. Other times, I don't care. So it just depends on the problem itself. Do you guys have questions on that? Oh, Cole.
If we could pick one, is like the top one better than pick like overall?
I would say this is the easier way. So I would default to this unless my prompt says it has to look exactly like this. Because now I don't have to worry about, actually you can do this. Actually, I'm not going to touch that one. I'm going to print. You can mix it too. So here it adds it right to the end, right up against the $sign, but I don't need that. I can have a space in between the actual math part, this 0 and the in. So I get rid of this space and I throw a comma in. However, if you but if you do something like this, let's just do this. What's going to happen? A good bet if when I ask what's going to happen, an error is going to pop up. Just throwing that out there. So what's going to happen? Can you tell me what type of error, Andre?
EOL.
No, not an EOL. Good guess. I can't add a string to a float, or I can't add a float to a string. If I have a plus sign, both things on both sides have to be strings. This is a string here, right? How do I know it's a string, Anna? Well, it's even easier than single quotes. It's green. Yes, anything green is a string. So if this is green and I'm using a plus sign, this has to be a string. Or I throw a comma in here like I did up here. Does that make sense?
So you just fix it by putting string before it?
Yep.
And you said you could put a comma.
Yeah. So So if I got rid of this, it's just like the thing up top, except I have parentheses, which I don't need.
Okay.
And then when I run it, I still have that space, because anytime there's a comma and we're printing, there's a what? Space, yes.
But I think you have any parentheses with the top.
Oh, nothing. At least I don't think so. Famous last words. Yeah. Do you guys have questions on that? Are you sure? Alright, so what I want you guys to do is similar to what we were going to do in the quiz. But I want you to ask the user for a string type variable, a float type variable, and an integer type variable. And I want you to put those three inputs together into one, using one print function. So you're going to do something like wage, age, name, or whatever, input, and then using one print, you're going to print all of this information in a sentence that makes sense. So, okay? So I'm going to...
Sentence, all three of those in one sentence.
All three of those, or if it's two, like your name is Andre, you are 92, and your favorite movie is Princess Bride. You could do 3 sentences, but it has to be one string, one print function to print all that.
Okay.
Excuse me. So I'll give you guys till 2:15 on that, so that's 10 minutes. So Will, I'll have you do this too. I'm gonna stop or pause the recording. Here we go. So we're gonna do. So you guys more or less got it. Not more or less. You guys did get it. I'm not gonna necessarily go over it. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna start our pie game. So what I want you guys to do is get a new file up and running. Do not name it pie game. Don't do it, because if you name it pie game and we have to import pie game, it imports itself into itself and breaks. Yeah,
What if you name it like my plugin rendition?
that's fine. But what I would do is I'm gonna save it as in class game start or whatever, just because this is the beginning.
Are we making a new file?
Yeah, making a new file.
So just don't include the word pie?
It can be any. You can have pie game 1 2 3 4 5. Just can't be pie game.
Okay.
Is it PIE or PI?
PYGAME
P-Y. Are we saving
for
this-
Python game pie game.
Are we saving this to like a specific folder for you or just for ourselves?
So we're making
I would. So what I would do, I forgot. We have to do one other thing first before this will work. But what I'm gonna do is, on your desktop, I would make a folder. So I would right click, go new folder, and type this in class game or whatever. And then save this file in there.
What's it called? Class game what?
I don't care. It's however you want to name your file that's going to contain all the stuff you need to build your game. Yeah.
Oh, so I have like a folder like for Python. Should I make another folder for the specific one?
I don't care.
Wait. So explain, how do we get to plugin?
I haven't gotten there yet. We're not doing that yet.
Oh, okay. So
That's it.
Does everyone have their file saved wherever they know they're going to be able to find it and they're comfortable? Because you're going to have to save a bunch of files in there eventually.
wait, how? So what type of a file would we just?
Another .py file.
Oh.
You're making a new file. That's where we're going to write it. But before we can load in this info that Python gives us, or that Pygame gives us, we need to install all of the files Pygame needs in order to run.
So we can just call it Python game.
Yeah, Python game works.
My brain's at like 2% or less today. I don't know.
Your brain. Oh, I'll get some caffeine.
I'm really mad.
So,
I left my shit more.
well, Well, we gotta get through this, so I'll hear about your lunch woes
Red flavored popsicle.
later.
I'm so sad about that.
So guys,
We did, though.
actually, all right, I'm gonna stop this video and then I'm gonna start a new one for Pie Game so it's easier to find them on YouTube.